so when we're doing the percentage problems, and you know, this way we build them where we start with 10%. If you're trying to find the answer, and you're going to be given 4 answers, A, B, C, and D, and like yours was, what's 33% of 581. We don't know what 33% is, but we know what 10% is. 10% is going to be 58.1, and we'll do that 3 times. 58.1, another 10%, 58.1. Now that's 30%, but we need 33%, so we moved it over 1 time for 10%. We'll move it over 2 times for 1%, 5.81, 5.81, 5.81. That's 1%, 1%, 1%, right? Mm-hmm. So adding this up, 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, that's all 33%. Now, adding up these numbers is tedious, okay? So this is where I would round, because the choices they might give you will be something like, oh, 180, 192, 220, and maybe 253. You know, something random. I'll round it to the nearest whole number, so I'll say, okay, let's make it 60 plus 60 plus 60, and I'll round this to 6, and 6 more, and 6 more. Okay, so when I add these up, instead, I'm going to have 6 and 6 is 12, and 6 more is 18. That's 8, carry my 1. 6, that's 18, 19. That's 198. Now, I come up with 198. That's not one of the choices. Mm-hmm. However, you got to remember, I bumped this up. I bumped this up. I bumped all these up. So my answer is actually higher. This number is actually higher than the true answer, because I added a little bit to each one of these, okay? I added a little bit here, I added a little bit there. So the true answer is going to be a little less than 198. And looking at these 4 choices, which one is closest to a little less than 198? B, exactly. So without having to add up all these tedious numbers and using numbers that are easier to add up, I can find my answer out of the 4 choices. Okay? You can eliminate this one, you can eliminate that one. Maybe 180, but you know, that's 60, 60, and 60, that's 180, but then you got to remember the 1% that you got to add in there too. All right? So that's a technique you can use on a variety of questions. Just looking at what the answer choices are and what's closest to your approximation, your estimation here. And that eliminates you from having to do some very tedious math, because when you add all this up, I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is. I honestly don't know. It's something close to 192 though.